Hey there YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to go over a product from Asus. I have a couple Asus products and they're a pretty good brand. They're actually Microsoft's higher end brand, kind of like Mercedes has AMG. This is the Asus brand. I did a laptop review a little while ago. This is a even more budget friendly piece of technology than that. This is the Asus Transformer. Very specifically, it is the Asus T100TA-GR-3 Asus Transformer book. It is a 10.1-inch tablet and transformer. It's kind of the generic name of this. So you've got a 10.1-inch tablet that we have here, we're going to go over in a second, and then it has a keyboard on here, so it functions as a laptop, and then the keyboard actually detaches very easily, so you've got the two halves of the puzzle here, and you've got a tablet and a very, very nice keyboard. Let's go over the keyboard first. You've got, actually before I go over that, let's talk about price. Price is $175. Now this is a refurbished model that I picked up. The refurbished, some of them are good, some of them are bad, and reviews reflect that accordingly. Most of the reviews are either 5-star or they're 1 or 2-star because they wound up getting a defective product. Mine came in just fine. Mine did not come with any accessories. This is what it came with. Didn't come with a charging cable, which we'll get to in a second. Didn't come with any other accessories, manuals, other things like that. Keyboard and this. And it was a little bit dirty. I had to clean up the keyboard and other things like that and wipe the screen down, and there was some schmutz on the back of it. But the keyboard is pretty good. Full-size, not full-size keyboard, but has everything you need here. You've got number keys, you've got function keys so you can get to things like brightness and battery saving and turning the trackpad on and off and volume and mute and all that good stuff. On the side here, left side, you've got just one port on here, and it's a USB 3.0 port, usually denoted by the blue color. And that's great for file transfer and other things like that. Up top here, you've got the detach button. And these are two little support struts which lock into the tablet to give it a little more security. And this is a proprietary port that obviously, you know, this keyboard can communicate with this tablet with. Nothing on the right side, nothing on the bottom or the back. The back just has the Windows sticker, a FCC ID sticker, and some actually very nice rubber feet down here. Before I get into this, I want to make one more disclaimer. I get this question all of the time. Pat, can this run this game? Pat, can this run that game? Pat, can it render 4K footage? No, it can't. Can it video edit? No, it can't. Can it do, you know, audio and media creation from, you know, MIDI files and other things and able to? No, it can't. Don't even ask. This is not a gaming device. This is not a video editing device. This is a very, very inexpensive, portable, on-the-go, browsing the internet, checking your email in a little Starbucks, writing up your screenplay or something like that. This is a very, very simple device. So as long as we keep that expectation going of this nice, simple device, everything will work out very nicely. Let me talk about the keyboard here for just a second here. Trackpad's really good. It's got this little line here in the middle. So you've got a right click and a left click, but actually the whole thing clicks all together. It's a decent size. I wish, you know, you've got all this real estate. You might as well use some of it, make it a little bit bigger, but it's not too terrible. And on here, it's kind of hard to see. You can see it's got a little bit of a brushed metal texture to it. It's very, very nice finish. Really, really like this keyboard. Size is not too bad. Takes a second to get used to, but it's not too bad. So we'll talk about the tablet itself. It is a 10.1-inch tablet, which is a really, really good size. Give me a second here. I'm going to go get some other size comparisons. So all of our devices nowadays are getting a little bit bigger. 10.1 inches is really the acceptable size in my mind for a screen that you want to be working on. 7-inch tablets are extremely popular. Here is a Nexus 7, the 7-inch tablet. You can kind of see it is obviously a little bit smaller. And we're only talking screen size. Okay, you can kind of see here the screen does not take up this whole thing. Same with this. You can see here there's a black border around it. Does not take up the entire screen. So this, you know, from my finger to my finger is 10.1 inches. This is a little bit more. We'll get into that in a second. But if you're with all of our media consumption, YouTube, you know, what you're doing right now, checking the internet, other things like that, it's also a little bit better on your eyes. A 7-inch screen is kind of out the window. I use this for my racing simulator, and that's about it. I don't really use it anymore. So 10.1, very, very good size, or a little bit bigger. Here's some other cell phones. That's a 4-inch cell phone. Here's a 5-inch cell phone. Other things like that. So you've got a couple size comparisons there as to how big these devices are in relationship to each other, but 10.1 inches is pretty good. Now that's small for a laptop, but I would not consider this a laptop. This is more of a really, really portable device. If you're, you know, editing a couple of documents, you're on the go, you need to be able to check something, whether you're on the road or whatnot, and this is the device to do it. So let me talk about specs real quick, and then we will turn this on, and I'll get a little bit more into that. So this comes retails for $200. So $200, good price tag. If you want the refurbished one, which is one I got, it's $174 right now. It floats between $150 and $175. It has 32 gigs of storage. It's very fast. It's built into the device, so it's very, very snappy. But after format, after software, after operating system, you only have about 18 gigs to mess around with. So right off the bat, you're not getting 32 gigs of storage. That's another conversation for later about why that is. But there are ways around it, and we'll talk about that in a second. It has dual-band Wi-Fi, which doesn't even matter. It's got Wi-Fi. That's all you need. It does have a really, really impressively fast quad-core Atom processor. It's an Intel Atom. If you really, really want to get specific, it's the Z3537B 1.33 gigahertz quad-core. 2 gigs of RAM, which is fine. I'd be a little more impressed with 4, but what this does, it really only needs 2 gigs of RAM. Now, going back to that storage thing, it comes in a 32 or a 64 gig version for $25 more. Also, you can use an SD card and expand that storage up to 128 gigs, and that's what I've done here. So let's take a look at this. You've got the Windows icon down here. You've got the word Asus up there. You've got a little teeny tiny camera up there that's only 1.2 megapixel, but it's really not too bad for those quick video chats. On the right side here, you've got a headphone microphone port, so it can only do one or the other, unless you get a splitter. It has a, it's kind of hard to see here for the focus. This is a micro HDMI, so you'll need a micro HDMI cable to connect this to a larger display or something else like that. And this is a micro USB, and we're all familiar with those if we have Android phones. And then a little bit further down, kind of hard to see here, this is your SD card. Now, I've got one in there already. Small con with my refurbished one, it kind of falls out a little bit. You know how SD cards kind of like click in and click out? This one doesn't do that. This kind of just sits in there. And I notice if I have this in my bag or something like that, it'll fall out. But, you know, I just kind of check it with my finger as I'm picking this thing up, and I make sure it's pushed in. And it's just like a flash drive, so it recognizes things when it needs to. On the left side over here, we've got 2 buttons. I think this is a lock button. Actually, I have no idea what that button does. And this is a volume rocker. Change your volume there. And that's all that's on the left side. On the top, you've got a very teeny tiny hole right there, which is your microphone. And then over here is the power switch. And you've got to hold that for a second or two. And this guy should power on. There you go. Asus. It spins around a little bit as it goes through its boot up there. And it automatically logs me in. And we're in. So not too bad. It's pretty snappy. You can get through the menus and everything like that pretty quick. You can get through all your apps. I'm looking through the camera as I'm doing this, so it's a little bit weird. Let me open up a notepad or something like that. So things are pretty snappy. Now you do have a full desktop here, if I can kind of show you here. You do have a full desktop as well. It's running Windows 8.1, so you can upgrade to Windows 10 if you so choose. I don't recommend it because Windows 10 is not as touch-friendly as Windows 8. So you've got all the menus over here on the side. You can jump back between. You can switch apps very easily. There's really, really a lot that you can do. You've got all the usual stuff. You can get Netflix on here. I mean, this thing is really, really lightning fast. Very, very nice device. I don't think I've signed in to Netflix yet, so it's going to ask me to sign in. Either way, Very fast. The storage here is expandable, so it kind of gets around the storage problem. The SD card's obviously not as fast as the stuff that's built in, but a good way to save space. Asus is to blame for some of this. Asus installs a whole bunch of crap software on it. It's called bloatware. A lot of manufacturers start doing this. They install, 5 or 6 or maybe 10 just garbage programs that have their name on it that programs that don't need to be there. So you can remove those. You can save a couple gigs of storage. I really only use this for a handful of things. I browse the web on it. I check my email on it. I don't have a full version of Office. This does not come with a full version of Office, but you can try or buy one. I have a free version of Office called LibreOffice on there, which is actually really, really good. And it's lightweight and it doesn't take up a lot of space. So keep those things in mind. This is not a gaming platform. This really doesn't even do lightweight gaming. It does have Intel HD graphics, so it can, do a little bit of load. Watching some nice videos or a movie or something like that. It's not going to stutter, or you're not going to have any problems with that. It is a 720p screen, so it is technically an HD screen, but it's not 1080p like we're used to. It's 720p. The resolution is 1366 by 768. Battery life on here, very impressive. 10.5 hours is what I got so far, and I've been kicking the shit out of this thing, installing other stuff like that. Now the keyboard is kind of another con that I have. Yes, it's a great keyboard. It locks in. It's really great. Kind of clicks in there very well, and then it'll beep at you because it knows that it's connected. But if you see, as I move my finger here, there is definitely a little bit of a delay. You might not be able to detect this on my camera, but there's a little bit of a delay between this and the tablet. And when I'm sitting here, it's really easier just to scroll with my finger or other things like that. You can do the 2-finger scrolling here, but it's really not fantastic. There's a little bit of lag between this and the device, but I find myself very often, just taking this off if I'm browsing the internet or catching up on YouTube videos or even editing. I was doing it very, very light editing on some of my videos on YouTube with this, and it's just so much easier to use your hands. So this is great. It protects it very well. It folds up. It's a very, very nice thin combination here. It's 0.9 inches thick. So you've got, really, really pretty thick, about as thick as a phone. And you split that in half if you're just using it as a tablet. Nice and easy to find a sleeve. Very glossy here on the side. There's a very, very gentle, it's really, really hard to see, sort of a texture to it. It's very glossy here, but underneath it has this little texture material to it. The back clamp here just kind of clamps it closed. It does not really stay closed very much in the front. As you see, if I let that go, it will if it sits in a bag or something like that, but there is no clasp on the front, which is not the end of the world for me. And then you open it back up, and maybe it shut off on me when I closed it. I think it was doing an update or something like that. It's been barking at me to do an update. That's the thing I don't really like about this. I'm not sure what this button up here does. Is this the power on button or what? Or I'm not sure. Like maybe this thing turned off. I think when it's docked and I close it, it turns off. But sometimes, I don't know, it's a little bit quirky. But can I even get this thing to turn back on is the question. It is weird. You kind of have to hold the button down there for a little bit longer than I'd like to get this thing to turn on. Oh, maybe this thing's not even going to turn on for me anymore. I don't know. Oh, see, there it goes. Maybe it was just thinking. Oh, that's what it was doing. It was doing an update. Okay, so that's why. And see, like I was moving it around, the SD card kind of just came out of there on the side. On there for me. I'm actually going to leave that out there. So mine, the SD card slot is really not fantastic. I'm not very impressed with it. I am impressed with this device. The price point is great. I like the hardware. I really can't complain about what they offer in this for the price. It's not a huge fingerprint magnet. It's very well made. It's not, you know, overly fragile or anything like that. It's actually really, really nice. It's super, super quiet. Obviously, it doesn't have any fans or anything like that, like some full-size laptops. So it's actually pretty darn good. There we go. Now it'll turn back on. I bet you it was doing that update. Anyway, really impressive. I'm going to get back to this. I'm going to start loading some software on it. I'm going to really put it through my paces. I'm going to use it for the next 6 months, put it through its paces. You know, I'll let you know what I think about it and what it does for me. I'm going to try to push the limits of this device as much as I can without trying to break it or anything. I'll do some upgrades. I might try some mods or other modifications. You really can't upgrade these just because of their very small size and everything's kind of built into the board. But we'll see what we go from there. So like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Questions or comments or any information that I left out, please let me know. I'll be around to answer your questions as best as I can. Just keep in mind that this is a very budget-friendly product, and as long as you keep that expectation, this is a really, really nice device for the price. I'm glad that manufacturers are starting to really bring down the price of things like this, and not, you know, have a starting price point of $500 or $600 for just something simple like this. Really impressive what they can provide for the money. So thanks for hanging around, guys. We will see you in the next one.